Dear friends of music, this is Lana with Lana's Music Studio, and today we will talk about how to sight read the notes fast. We are not talking about how to do the rhythm, how to recognize phrases and chords and all other aspects of sight reading, but the most challenging part for beginners is just to recognize the note. So note recognition is not as hard as you think. Let's start. So let's start from middle C. Here's my middle C with that little letter C, so you know where we are when I show it here on the keyboard. And middle C will look like this between the two clefs. This is your treble clef, and this is your bass clef. So if you're reading from middle C up, playing from middle C and up, this will be a treble clef. And treble clef, in other words, for it, another name for it is G clef, because this little second line note is G. If you see at the cross in the middle of this treble clef, it actually shows you position of that G right here. If you're playing your notes down from middle C, it will be a bass clef, and this is your bass clef. It's F. It indicates position of F below middle C right here. And that head of the bass clef, or the line between two dots, it's actually F. But let's talk about how to actually recognize them much faster than just being available to looking at the clefs. So let's take away that little arrows I drew for you. And let's talk about first skips and steps. So if I will write C, the next note will be D, the next note will be E, then F, and then G, and we'll stop it for here right now. So this is really, C is a line note, D is a space note between the lines, E is a line note, F is space note, and G is line again. So this is so-called scale movements. Scale. If you're not skipping anything, just don't step by step up. C, D, E, F, G. Or you can go down on scale. G, F, E, D, C. But what if we will take the eraser and take out the notes that's sitting on a space between the lines? So we skip that D, so D, C, skip D, E, skip F, G. So what we're doing skips right now, if we're looking at lines. Line, 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 we're skipping. So it's not scale anymore, it's skips. Now, let's learn how to read the lines only. And again, all those mnemonics about good boys would be not helpful if you need to have to read it downwards. So that's why let's be adult people and just learn them this way, how I'll show you, and then you will see how easy and fast will be to read everything. Not only 3 notes here and 3 notes there, but all the way up and all the way down. So let's start with that middle C again. And we will name all the lines on way. So C, skip D, next will be E, skip F, next will be G, skip A, next will be B, skip C, next will be D, skip E, and the last one is F. Okay, so let's try it together. I will say the names of those lines, but I want you to say it first. So I will get a little pause when I point in on something, and you try to say the name of the skip, and then I will name it as well. Ready? Let's do it. C, E, G, B, D, F. Okay, very good. Now let's go backwards. So all we're doing is we're skipping. Let's name it. Starting on F. F, skip down is D, skip down B, skip down G, skip down E, skip down C, keep skipping down, skip down from C. A, we already got to the bass clef, but it's still the same idea. We keep skipping. So skip down from A is F. Skip down from F is D. From D is B. And from B, skip down is G. Now our goal will be to start thinking skips, up or down. It will be not that easy. I know your brain is boiling right now, but let's try it, do it a couple times. You'll get used to it. And once you learn how to easy do it up and down, then you will solve a lot of your sight reading problems. And I will show it to you right away after we're done with training on that. Let's try it again. From the bottom going up. G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, and down. F, D, B. Try to not look down on your keys, just do it in your mind. G, E, C, A, F, D, B, G, and let's keep going on. G, skip down. E, skip down. C, down. A, skip down. F, and so on. And look at this, how low we get to our keys, and this is so-called ledger lines. Ledger lines are used when you're going away from the basic 5 lines. If you need to have a way lower sounds than as available on basic 5 lines, or way higher when you have to go above the lines to reach the very high pitch sounds. Okay, so that's how it works. Like, you remember that F, that was the top line. F, the next up is A, next up is C, next up is E, and I run out of room, but it can keep going on and on and on. So as you see, ledger lines are not that scary at all. And now let's see, how can we read that? How can it help us to read fast? Let's see, if let's say I will take this note, which is E, and I will write something like this. It's a chord. And if you know that this is E, you don't need to even think about what the rest of the notes are, because you do E, skip, skip. That's it. Or you read in something like this. So it's still line, line, line. It's like a chord, but it's a broken line, a broken chord. So you're not playing it as a block chord, not all together 3 sounds, but you're playing it one after another. It goes C, E, G. So how easy to read it is. Now, let's say if we're playing down, we know that this is your top line is F, and let's play it. I know that probably if you're a very beginner, you didn't learn more than 5 notes from C to G, but how about this? This is your F, and then you have skip, skip. That's it. Really fast. Now, this way we are reading all notes. We are not relying on that 5-finger position where you're really reading by the numbers of the fingers, and you get really stuck on that middle C with thumb, and like you're reading 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 5, 5. And as soon as you have to change or kind of expand something, you're getting lost because you don't know what the notes are. Okay, we're not reading by finger numbers, not reading by finger position, we're reading the notes. And you see this, if you have thumb here, my pinky is not necessarily on G. So if it says 5, it's not necessarily will be G. It can be C, it can be A, it can be B flat, whatever you want to do. And thumb is not always on middle C. See where my thumbs were? Everywhere. So let's learn how to read the notes. Now, Let's go to next step. Bass clef. Everybody's scared of bass clef. Like, it's not really that scary. That's your middle C, and read down by skips, the same idea. C, skip, skip, reading down everything. That's the only difference. Can it be much more complex? Yes, it can, but it's really not that scary either, because let's take our lowest line. The lowest line was G. It's easy to remember by word ground. It's our ground line. Ground line. So G is your ground line. And let's take our G. Right here, it's a low G. So it's not this G, but this G after middle C. G, line, line, line. How hard it will be to read? Easy, because you see that it's a skip, skip, skip. See, G, skip, skip, skip. That's it. Easy. All right, up or down, you're just skipping if you're seeing the lines. Now, what happens when we see these spaces? Let's say I will have this note right here, and you can see that this is E, this is G, and this is note between them. It's F. So F, and if we skip the line and do next, skip the line, do next, it still skips. F, A, C. Or, you know that this is your G. So here's A. Is this a chord? Yes, it is a chord. When you playing it from A, it's a so-called triad chord. So every time we're playing skips, you have some sort of the chord. Either it will be major, minor, or diminished, or augmented. Anyways, it will be chord, and it's called a triad type. It's the easiest. And then we can have inversions and sevenths and all kind of things. But when you learn how to see those skips, that will be not a problem. What if we combine skips and skips on lines and skips on spaces? Is it possible? Yes, it is. Let's see. I will have, this is E. We already know that E. Then we have a skip, and then we skip. Oh, how many we skip in here? So this is skip 1, and here is skip 2. And here we go. You don't have, if you don't know this note, it's not really hard to figure out what it is. If you know that this is E, E, skip 1 and skip 2, and you play the inversion of C major chord. By the way, if you really want to know about chords, I have here in the same playlist another video that teaches you actually how to build and recognize major, minor, diminished, and augmented chords. Okay, let's see if it will help us with high pitch notes. Like, you know, you just learned that top line is F. How about we'll go higher and higher? Is it very hard to read? If you know that this is F, skip, skip, F, skip, skip. It's easy. All right, how about here? G, and we're going down. So G, skip, skip. Here's another chord, really easy. What if you're playing not chords, but you see something like this? Let's say E, and then we have this note that you don't know what it is. So E, skip, skip. Or here. This will be the note above G, right? So G is here, so it's above G is A, and this one. A, skip, skip. There we go. Or G, skip, skip, skip. G, skip, skip, skip. GF. Easy. When you start reading, you always will see a combination of things like this. Not necessarily everything will be going always on line and always on spaces. It will be combinations. And it's very good to start seeing the blocks of certain movements. Analyze how it goes. A lot of times it's combination of chords, moving by skips and moving by scales. For instance, it can be like this. Something like this. And I can tell that this is skip, skip, and then step, step, step. See, skip, skip, step, step, step. If you have a chance to review your piece before sight reading, you can see certain things. Like I would always look at things like going on lines like this. I can tell that it's moving on a C major chord. And this is section of the scale. So when you start sight reading, take it slow, take it very steady pace, as slow as you can without stopping and gapping. Counting is very important, but it's a different thing. It's not note recognition, it's the rhythm recognition. But at least I hope that today's lesson, today's video really helps you to start seeing the patterns, seeing skips and counting notes much faster than if you would count every note on your way to figure out what is this key. Like, oh, you have to count from C everything. No, you know the top is F, skip down, it's D. That's it. Well, I hope it will be very helpful for the beginner pianists, and not only pianists, any other instruments. You can use the same idea of reading the notes. And if you like it, please leave me comments or suggestions, questions. I will be happy to answer. Please sign up for my channel because I keep posting more movies, which I hope will be helpful for you in your journey and learning music. And thank you very much for your listening. I will see you in our next videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.